Hello, and we are sitting in the PMDG Boeing 737-700 aircraft. And today we're going to do a cold and dark startup from this state here where it's completely down, everything off, all the way to starting the engines. We're not going to taxi or anything. We're not pushing back or anything like that. We're just going to get the thing going. Excuse all of the aircraft or the things that look like they are hovering above the ground, including my airplane. If you go outside here, look at that. Wait a minute, not that one. Wait, not that one. Insert. Oh yeah. Look at that. And plus, we have no run lines on the airport. Anyway, we're not here for that. I think it's because of the data center issue that they're having. So let's see if I could. There we go. Okay, back in. Okay, first thing we're going to do now. I have everything switched off and open. I found this panel state that essentially has everything turned off in the off position. And so I'm going to go ahead and take you through this. So there's a couple of things, like for example, in some checklists they have you do this, the battery, the standby power, and the emergency lights. But here we've got all this up here. You know, this stuff. All these switches are in the up position, in the off position, closed position, including the hydraulic pumps. So we're going to start from scratch and just go all the way through everything. It doesn't take that long, and again, it's really comes down to muscle memory. So let's start off. So we're going to start off the upper left-hand corner. We've got to get power to the plane. To do that, all you do is close these little hatches here. Close them. Then we're going to go over here and just close that. Close this. And close that. So, once again. Right. Now let's just imagine those are only up. So, come up here, close, 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 close. Right here, close, close, close. From here, you're going to go down to the FMC, and we need to call for ground power. So go over here, ground services, make sure your wheel chocks are set, and request ground power. Now, go back up to the top. Upstairs is what we call it. Wait for the ground power to connect. The light is on. It's available. Now let's go ahead and connect the ground power. Alright, and now you have power to the airplane. From here we go to the up here, and we turn on the IRS on the left. Wait for the light to come on. You don't have to wait, but and then come over here, do the same thing here. Okay, wait for that. Okay. Now, I have seen people go and just flip that yaw damper switch on, and good. If you try to flip that too soon, it'll flip right back up and go into the off position. So take your time when you're putting the power on, going downstairs, going upstairs, putting the, turning on the IRS left and right. So, the next thing that we do is we put on our window heat. So there we go. And those guys will come on. Leave the probe in the auto position. Allow the plane to automatically turn the probe on if it needs it, if there's ice and all that stuff. So just leave that on auto. The other thing, once you do that, you also want to turn on your chime here. So that's on. Do not put the seatbelt signs on yet, not until the plane is fueled. Now, the next thing the checklist says is to put on the electric hydraulic pumps. The problem with that is if the plane has no fuel in it, then your hydraulic pumps are going to overheat, because from what I understand, the hydraulic pumps are cooled off by the fuel. They don't use fuel, but the fuel is used to cool them off. So don't turn those on quite yet, not until you have fuel in the plane. And but let's just say we go up here. Okay, then we're going to leave those alone for now. Okay, working our way down. Good. Now we go up to the top here. Come up here. That's going to stay on supply duct. And then this is going to remain off. The packs are going to remain off. And the isolation valve is going to remain closed. These remain off, and of course the Apu bleed remains off. Skip this for now. Come down here to your lights and go ahead and put your... Now this is, to me it was confusing at first. This is the position light. You're either in strobe and steady, or you're in steady. So put it in steady mode. And if it's at nighttime, turn on the wheel well light and leave the wing, the anti-collision off, and then turn on your logo light if it's nighttime. So nighttime, you would put your logo light on, that to steady, your position light to steady, and your wheel well light to on. Okay. Now we're there. Now what we're due at this point, I would say we're ready to load the passengers. So let's just say we did that. We went down to the FMC, went over to menu. We go to FS Actions, and here is where you could add your fuel. There's a couple ways of doing it. This is the quick and dirty way of doing it. You can see we don't have any fuel in the aircraft. So if we were to turn on the electrical hydraulic pumps, they would overheat. So let's go ahead and just, now this is in kilograms, and this is kilograms. I have that set up in my aircraft here under the option settings. So I'll just put 5,000 kilograms in there. Okay, and I'll return and come over here to the payload, and let's just say we'll do we'll set max. Okay, full flight along with the full cargo in the aft as well as the forward cargo. So all of that's good. Now that the fuel is in the plane, we can go up overhead and we can go ahead and turn on the electrical hydraulic pumps 1 and 2. We will leave the engine hydraulics off until the plane engines are running. Okay, so now at this point, you would come over here and set your cruising altitude based on your flight plans. Let's just say it's going to be 30,000. And the landing altitude comes off of your approach of your destination airport, and it's the TDZE. You can use that number, or you could go to your FMC, go to the legs, and then go to your runway that you're landing at, and you'll see the altitude. But I just pulled it off of the approach plate. So I'm going to go here and just put, maybe it's well, if it's Denver, that's like at least 5,000. So we'll just dial in 5,000. 5,300. How about there? There you go. Okay, and that, by the way, is the runway elevation, not the airport, because they could be different, right? Even by 100 feet. So Depends on where you're going to, boy. All right. Everything looks good. And at this point, you wait for all of your passengers to get on and all your fuel to get loaded up. Now let's say your fuel is all done. At this point, you would put on the seatbelt sign. Just like that. Good. I put it on. I don't use auto. You use auto whatever you want. Okay. Now we're ready to start the APU. Okay. To start the APU, there are some folks out there that say do the forward pump. But in a lot of the checklists that I've seen, it's the aft fuel pump. So I'm going to go with the aft fuel pump. So turn that on. Wait for the little light to go out. Good. Now we're going to start the APU. Here's the APU. You're going to flip this to the start position. So right now you are pulling electricity from the ground power. Now this is starting to kick in. Once the APU starts up, this light will light up, and so you would want to transfer where the power is coming from the ground power over to the APU. So you want to wait until this drops down, and then this light will light up. So let's see what's going on here. Hopefully we don't have a crashed desktop. They're having some issues. Okay, it's coming down, and then this will light up. And settle. Now, this is ready for to provide the electricity instead of the ground power. So you're going to transfer it from the ground power over to the APU generator, and that's what this is, APU generator, right? So we do the right one first. Okay. Things kind of go off, and then it comes back on, and then the left side. Now we are pulling power from the APU generator. However, we're not ready to disconnect the ground power yet. Let's just wait until everything else is ready to go before we turn the ground power off. So leave that on just in case you need it. You don't have to go down and call it again, right? So over here, in order to begin the process of starting the engines, once you transfer the power, then you come over to this section. Very, very, very important. The packs must be in the off position. So they are. The isolation valve must be in the open position. Okay? The APU bleeds for engine 1 and engine 2 should be in the off position. And now if you can turn on the APU bleed. This is what allows you to, or that configuration right there allows you to be able to crank the engines. Okay, and now that is ready. At this point, you can turn off or disconnect the ground power. Okay, so now you haven't disconnected it. All you've done was just turned it off, right? But it's still connected to the airplane. So now you have to go down to the FMC and go to your menu, FS Actions, Ground Services, and you can release the ground power. Now they are disconnecting and leaving. You know, they're rolling away. Also, don't forget to set your Irs Position. So to do that, we're going to go over here to Menu, FMC, POS Position. You could put in, so you can get some really good details, KLAX. Right? You could also put in the gate. Let's see if this works. 49 Alpha. Does this work? Good. Now, I've seen some people grab this one up here. I have seen in most checklists and most YouTube videos from real Boeing 737 pilots that you go to the second page and grab GPS left. So grab that, go back one page, and paste it into the set Irs position. And you're set. So from there you would, do all your flight plan. We're not doing the flight plan today. All right, so back overhead. So everything is set up. We release the ground power. It's no longer there. And at this point, you would be ready for pushback. So you would call your pushback tug and have them back you up. And but before you do that, you want to turn on your anti-collision light. Turn that on. You want to, at this point, you can turn on all your fuel pumps. And you will want to release or remove the chocks. So go to Menu, FS Actions, Ground Services, right here, Wheel Chocks, Remove, which I believe will also close your doors if you have any of them open. Let me see. Yeah, they're closed. Okay. And once the wheel chocks are gone, then you can go ahead and you would do that once you call for pushback. Okay, so let's go back up here. So they're pushing you back, and they will give you clearance to start your engines, right? So you go here. Everything's set, ready to go. Right? Those still remain off. They'll come on in a second here. So let's go ahead and start the engine number 2. So go there, and then immediately go down to your power and watch this number right here. Oops. Wait till it gets to 21 and then introduce fuel. 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay. That's going good. And you could monitor everything if you want. And at the same time, here, let's see if I can get them all in. Let's see if I can zoom out. There we go. Okay, now this switch right here, it's currently on ground. We'll switch back over to auto. When it does that, then you're ready for engine number 1. There we go. Now we do number 1. And we watch the number down here on the lower ECAM. Wait till that gets to 21. Good. Introduce fuel. And, don't forget to set your parking brake either. Matter of fact, I better make sure that's set. Oh, it was set. Oh. Sorry, folks. There we go. Okay. And we will wait for that switch to turn off. Okay. Just like the ground power, where we had to switch and transfer the power from the ground power over to the APU, because the APU is still running, we need to transfer the power from the APU over to the generators on the engines, right? So to do that, generator 2 comes on, generator 1 comes on, and I don't know if you have to do that, but at least turn them on there. Now we go over here and we start doing this. So the engines are running now. We can turn on electrical hydraulic 1 for engine 1 hydraulic, engine 2 hydraulic. So those are on. Good. And now we come over and work this panel here. First thing we do is turn on the bleeds. Matter of fact, I think you could turn those on first. But anyway, put those on. You're going to put your packs on. Ah, nice and cool, right? But not yet. Put your isolation valve to auto, recirculation fan to auto. And up here, you're going to change where the air is coming from to the passenger cabin. And you can go ahead and adjust the temperature. And look at this up here, it's starting to come down nicely, right? Very good. Now, this guy, dual bleed, because your APU is still, your APU bleed is still on, so we're going to turn that off. That goes away. Now your APU is still running, so we're going to turn that off. Good. And now that will start to drop as it spins down. You're ready to go. So, and actually, I apologize, you would not turn on your anti-collision until you're actually ready to move. It's either that or I've seen it different on different YouTube. Some people say, hey, you put the beacon anti-collision light on when you're going to start your engines, and I think that's when you should put them on, because it's a warning for those around, hey, something is going to be happening here real soon. So let me see if there's anything else. I think, oh, one thing. You notice I didn't turn on the center fuel pumps. And I didn't do that because there's no fuel in the center tanks. If you have fuel in the center tanks, then you're going to want to turn on the center fuel pumps. But then you have to remember, when you're flying, once the fuel is depleted out of the center tank, you'll want to turn off the center fuel pumps. Otherwise, you'll have alarms here, and you might even get an alarm on your FMC. Some people just say, I just leave them on, just let them on. Well, you can if you want, but anyway. So I hope this was helpful. You know, by the way, here are let's do some lights. Let me show you some lights here. Let me make it dark. Let's see. Okay, let's make it dark. Let me show you some lights. So you have a flashlight. Now I have it bound to a key on my joystick. So there are some lights here. You got your circuit breaker. Put that all the way up. Wait, that's up top, I believe. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see. Nothing. All right. Now let's put it all the way up. Let's see. Did that do anything? Lovely. Okay. Well, it might be somewhere else. Okay. Anyway, let's put the light back on. So you've got that. I usually don't put that all the way because it doesn't, as we've seen, doesn't do anything. You put your panel lights. This dial controls your overhead. Right? That does your overhead. And when we go to the pilot view, look, everything's out over here, but you have it up here, right? So let's take care of this stuff up here. And that is down here. Panel lights. Okay, turn that all the way up if you want. And then you've got, let's see, what does this do? Let's zoom out. So you've got background. There's your background. You can put that all the way up if you want. And you also have this AFDS flood. And I think that is a bar light. Yeah, that's right here, underneath here. So you can put that up if you want. And put that up a couple notches. And that's what she looks like, right? Then you have your radio stack. Well, I don't know what that was. Wait a minute, let's see what's going on here. That was weird, huh? Oh, I think because everything landed on the ground. Okay. Go back to the radios. Alright. So, you notice your FMC, that they're not lit up or anything. So to light those up, you come down here to the radio stack, and you've got some dials down here. Panel, or that's the flood. Wait. Here you go. Panel. Put that all the way up to bright. And then you've got a nice bright floodlight, if you want that up. Let's see what that does. Does that light stuff up? A little bit. Let's turn that all the way down. By the way, if you double click, boop, it puts it all the way up. Double click on the left, puts them all the way down. What's that look like? Did that change anything? Yeah, it did. So, you might even have some lights up here somewhere. Okay, let's go back down there and put that stuff up a little bit. There we go. And so that's how to get things, that's how to get the plane started. Now there's other things to think about. For example, your transponder, your radio, your ILS stuff, you know, for your runways. Also, stuff up here, setting this up, you know, your cruising altitude or whatever altitude you initially assigned to, your initial heading, your speed, from your speed doing the PERF calculation, performance calculation for takeoff. All I did was just walk you through on how to get the thing started. So, anyway, hope you enjoyed. You have a super day.